The Joy Formidable on Pure Channel for the record, the big row. Thanks very much, Vitzi, Rijen, and Matt for being with us.
Thank you.
All right.
It's a pleasure, and it's been a pleasure listening to the record. I told you just before, mainly because there was a big sound I've not heard for many years. And I read an interview, you did that with a computer in a small room. Is that really true?
Oh, it's absolutely true, yeah. No, we've got a tiny space, not much bigger than this, without a bar, fortunately.
Shame, really.
Well, maybe we would never have finished the record if that
good
had been the
point,
case. But yeah, very small space, but you know, it's very modest, but it more than does the job, you know, so we like working like that.
But were you plugged directly into the computers and using the plugin, or did you have amplifiers? Because we picture you in a very big room with a lot of employees recording that record.
Yeah, that's
No.
interesting. It's,
That's an illusion.
yeah, it is an illusion. There's some amplifiers, but actually it's mainly directly in, and we actually like that synthetic kind of distortion sound that you get sometimes from just plugins. So it wasn't just a necessity. It was, you know, because of how it sounded. You know.
Yeah, and we probably would have been evicted also if we'd have.
Yeah, we would have woken the neighbours up.
Although,
Yeah,
that might not have been a bad thing.
Yeah.
You could have...
Well, given the state of our apartment, probably not. No, moving would have probably been.
But it's true that a lot of bands say me sometimes with garage band, plugging, I don't know, British distortion, it works. And that, I'm not saying you did that, but it's true you had that pleasure and that rock sound only with the computer's plugin.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's how we've done all our recordings. Our past EP, Blunko Moaning, some of the singles. The beauty with this record is that we could use our live engineer Nick and Rich Costi to really bring out the mixes to when it really needs to be powerful. It really, you know, is able to do that. So
But it's given
yeah,
us a lot
very
of
happy.
freedom. You know, when you record like that in your bedroom, you can capture moments as and when they happen. You know, it's like I think it's a really special way of recording, and you know, it's what works for us. It's the way we like. We don't like to, you know, go to the studio and in 3 weeks or whatever, you know, however much time
To
you
make
have,
the magic
and that's where it
happen,
happens. We like to be able to work at any time in the day or night.
How long did it took you to do that record at your place?
Not long, but it's been
scattered though,
yeah.
hasn't it?
When we recorded, it was a very quick process, but it's been the fact that we've been doing it and then touring and then coming back to it and then touring and then, you know, so it's been over the period of a year, but you know, if you'd have put all the time together, it probably would have only been about a month.
Yeah.
I've questioned also about the grunge feeling. There's a lot of things on that record. There's sometimes a nostalgia, very beautiful melodies. But I had that pleasure also because I found back kind of a grunge energy. Do you agree with that? There's a grunge feeling.
We are in a bubble, and we write song by song. Because, you know, this is shoegaze, this is grunge, this is dream pop, this is dirge pop, this is, it's all sorts. To us, it's just all about what story, you know, you're trying to put across in the music, and the style and the genre is secondary to that. So it's loud, you know, it's aggressive.
No, it's not just that. There's waves. I read that interview of Billy Corgan. He was saying many years ago that a good concert or a good record was a kick in the stomach and then a caress, you know? Do you feel you have those waves on that record?
Oh, very much.
Dynamic,
I think we definitely balance that dynamic, and I mean that's how you get extremes, isn't it? You know, that's how those sensations or those, you know, those feelings become prominent, is because you have the opposites, you know. I mean, you have to have the two working, or at least that's what works for me, that you have to have the two side by side to actually make both of them powerful.
Yeah, you want all the emotions, you know. For us, a great record has the anger as well as the fragility, you know, and not contrived. It's because that's how you feel. This chronicles a year, you know, and we've had a lot of ups and downs, and that's what the record is, you know. We come from, you know, quite a small village in a town, in North Wales called Mold, and this is where the Joy Formidable started, really. We were writing and finding ourselves again, going for walks in the beautiful countryside, and yet it's a beautiful but a lonely atmosphere as well. So there is maybe that desire to escape, but you always feel tied to your roots as well. I'm not sure if, you know, that's a conscious thing in the album, you know, but
ultimately, in that, you know, people's analysis of it happens, you know, retrospectively. You know, for us, it's very difficult to pin down, you know, exactly what inspired it or what's motivated, because it, you know, we're in that moment. You know.
Well, I would say it's not introverted. There's always, you know, whenever there's been difficult times, there's that need for optimism and struggle for optimism and survival rather than internalizing. And I think the looking over the hill maybe comes from that kind of aspect. It's unapologetic, you know. We certainly don't feel apologetic about what we're doing, you know.
Yeah, I have many questions for you, Matt, because or maybe I can put it everything in one. Yeah, I think it's the drums are amazing on that record, because you had to be present with those two very powerful guitars and bass. And sometimes I feel like listening the good composition Dave Grohl did, for instance, and others on powerful trios. You know, like those progressions on the snare and you know, those breakups thing. Did you had him in mind, or did you had in mind that you had to keep the level and the rhythm hard to follow? Ritzy?
Yeah, I think it was Ritzy and Ridian. They write a lot of the rhythms, and then I take it on. I kind of play around with them, and sometimes just we always try and keep it simple, don't we? I mean, but within that there are some kind of technical things, I suppose, but it never kind of interferes with the song. It's whatever the song kind of needs, really, I suppose. But yeah, I think Dave Grohl's definitely had an influence on me anyway, so.
I mean, Matt's, you know, I'm surprised that Matt hasn't grown a third arm, because, you know, a lot of the recordings have, you know, synthetic drums that we've programmed, as well as having his live drum parts. And then when we come to play live, he has, you know, almost like, you know, two separate things to try and capture. So, you know, I mean, yeah, what he manages to do with those two, you know, opposites is pretty amazing. Live, you've got a third arm tucked.
Yeah, I just hide it.
In your trousers.
Did you have to change many things to play that record live? Did you have to, of course, put less guitars and for you to simplify the parts, or did you keep it quite the same?
I think we see them as different disciplines anyway. I mean, obviously you don't lose the purpose, the intent, the power, the melody of the song. So you know, there's always that as the guideline, but I certainly don't want to go out live and just replicate the album. Do you know what I mean? That's not what excites us about the live experience. So there's only three of us. There isn't just, you know, there's just the three of us on record, but there's several layers of the three of us on record. So we take what we feel are, you know, important moments, but it's got you know, at the same time it's got a different type of power, you know, for live.
It's actually quite nice to, you know, as long as you put as much effort into the live side as you do to the record, it's actually quite nice to have it a bit different, you know. It's something to revel in,
Yeah, and it feels like a record to go listen on stage. I'm telling you that, guys. You should go listen or buy, if you have cash, of course, on legal platforms. You have all the Joy Formidable, the big role. See them on stage too. It's been a pleasure. There's a lot of beautiful arrangements and good ideas. You two voices match very well. There's a chapter 2 you're singing in, or it's maybe the one after.
Oh, Sorry Equals Raw. Yeah.
Which is amazing too, hearing your voice in there. And yeah, last question for you, Ritzy. Would you say it's the main theme of that record when you wrote the lyrics? Maybe it's for you too.
I think, like we were saying before, it's captured a year, just over a year of our lives. It's a very personal record, but at the same time, you know, it's not just driven by personal meaning. It's very observant. I take my inspiration from lots of different things, you know, observations, dreams, pretend, you know, all sorts of things govern it. But ultimately, I think pinning the whole album down is that it means a lot to us. You know, it's been a turbulent but beautiful year at the same time. So it's, you know, it's captured that period of our lives, and every song, every lyric, you know, it means something. You know, they're not just words. You know.
Yeah, we should say that it's really powerful, but there's very, very beautiful melodies, and your voice is amazing, and it could be really tough and really soft. So yeah.
That's
really
me.
cool.
Really
Sweetsy.
really small.
But thank you very much for being on your channel, Big Road, the Joy Formidable. It's been a pleasure.